Hey guys, welcome to this week's team call. It is March the 14th, so we are almost halfway through this month already, and several of you are already on the board, and I know this coming Thursday we have someone going Emerald, so I'm super excited to announce that on Thursday when it is updated in the back office. So other than that, some other announcements to share are make sure that you mark your calendar for April the 8th. That is when the next Super Saturday is, so find a location that is near you. They are all over the US and Canada, and it is an event where you can get, together with local coaches. If you don't really know anyone who's going, I'm sure you could find someone on our team, on Rocket Nation, or even Dare to Dream, and find someone to go along with or meet there. That way that you don't feel all alone and you can go with someone that's also on the team. There are a ton of coaches, or even just take a friend of yours, say, hey, come with me to this event. Some places they do live workouts. I know Joel and Jericho will be going to the one in Dallas again, which is really awesome. Sometimes Carl goes to some of them too, the CEO. And then all the other trainers go to them too. So like Autumn Calabrese, Sagi, I can't even think of another one, Tony Horton, all of those people will be going to different events. So make sure you check and, see which one's closest to you, and then check some other ones to see if maybe there will be a trainer there, because sometimes there's a photo opportunity, which is really awesome too. And plus a live workout is always fun. So the other thing is the next Playbook Live event will be in Philly on May the 6th. And that is super awesome. I just went to the one in Dallas. So the next one on May 6th will be a lot of the same things that I learned, plus more, they said. So it's really awesome, and I am super excited because if you have been following the post in the team page, then you know that I have a ticket for someone to go, and it's only going to help you, and it's basically this playbook with 10 different things on how they have built their businesses. So definitely you want to go, and the requirements for that is just you have to be a paid Emerald coach by the last Thursday of April, and then it is the person who has the most Success Club points with March and April combined. So I will be adding those points together. You do have to hit at least Success Club 5 in both of those months in order to go. But I'm super excited. 2 of you guys are on the board, and we will see who is there. So far I want to give a shout out to Courtney. She has 2 points already this month, and then Morgan also has 4 points this month. So you guys are so close to Success Club, but anyone can make it. There's still plenty of time. Like I said, tomorrow will be halfway through the month. So if you are not there yet, you have no points, you can do it. I've done it all in one day before, so I know it is possible. So other than that, that was all for the announcements. So now I will kind of get into the topic of our team call, which is how to share your story. So a lot of times people ask me, how, and this is one of the things that I learned in Dallas, but it's also something that I get asked a lot is like, what do I share? What do I share on social media? How do I share it? How do I get people to follow me or build that momentum in my business by sharing my story and connecting with people so that they join me and they trust me as their coach. And it's by sharing your story. So your story is what makes you different from everyone else. There are tons of coaches. There's over, I believe now, 400,000 coaches between all over the US, Canada, and Puerto Rico. So there's a ton of different coaches, but we are not exactly alike in any way. Everyone is different. Some of us are similar, but everyone's story is different at some point. So think of it like your story is your fingerprint. No one else has the same fingerprint or story as you. So that is what makes you different, and that's how you are going to be able to connect to other people that are just like you. And the more specific that your story is, the better. So like if you have dates, you have times, you have places, any of that, the more specific that your story is when you are sharing it, the better that it will be when you do share it. Like people love dates. you know, like, oh, in 2015, I was going through this. And then now in 2017, I am a much happier person. So people love that. So I will go into, there are 4 parts to telling an effective story. And I love this because I've kind of been doing it, but I never realized, you know, the different parts. So if you want to write this down, number 1 is where you were before. So where were you at before, like when you first started your journey, or before that, even, you know, what were you struggling with? Things like that. So how did you feel? Number 2 is what were you dissatisfied with? Why did it suck? You know, being there and how you felt. And also the pain that you went through. You know, what did you go through that sucks so bad about it in that moment? And this is the part that most people often leave out of their story, because that is hard to share. You know, some things are hard to share in your story, and sometimes it does make us kind of like tense up, like, oh, should I share that? Should I not? Sometimes we question that. So number 2 is the most important part of your story, because that is how people connect to you. And then number 3 is what you found. So what I found was, when I got to, you know, when I started my health and fitness journey, I became more confident because I'm starting to lose weight and I feel more comfortable in my skin again, you know, things like that. And then number 4 is how you feel about the future. So how are you going to feel when you reach your goal, or where are you headed? And a lot of times the most common mistake that we make when we tell our story is we talk about number 3 and 4. We say what we found and what we feel, how we feel about the future, but we forget to get very specific on the first 2 parts. You know, where were you before and how did it feel? Like, what sucked about it? And I know when I started sharing more about like what sucked about it and things like that, you know, that's when people were like, oh, like, she's just like me. Like, I went through the same things, you know, and that's when people really open up to you and they start to trust you. Even though it may feel a little uncomfortable, you have to be okay with being a little vulnerable when you do share your story, because that is how you connect to people. So it's not something that you can master in a day. It's something that you have to do consistently to start to become better at it. I know the first time I told my story, I know I showed you guys my first transformation picture that I ever shared, and I shared it in the team page. And 2 years ago, like, I didn't know how to share my story, right? Like, me reading it again, I'm like, why did I share that? Or like, why did I add so much here, not enough there? You know what I mean? Like, specifics. I wasn't very specific on some parts because I was scared to share. You know, I walked away from my computer after I shared it because I was like, oh my God, like, I can't believe I just did that. But I had to do that in order to learn how to share it better over time. And you should be able to tell people either online or in person, which can kind of be scary, especially for me. Talking to people in person, I kind of clam up and I'm like, like, I don't like, especially if I don't know them very well, and they want to know, like, where did I get started? That was one of the things that one of my clients had asked me, my customer. She was like, so how did you feel when you got started? Or, you know, what did you struggle with? And when I shared that with her, I was like kind of scared to share that, you know. I was like, you know, why am I scared though? Because it turns out she is just like me. You know, she came to me and she was just like, I am just like you. She's like, I've read your Facebook post and how you are shy and introverted. She's like, I am the same exact way. Or I struggle with emotional eating, you know, things like that. And even though that's sometimes hard to share, she's like, I am the same way. And it's like, you are not alone. So don't feel that you are when you are sharing your journey, because I know that sometimes it is scary. So the other thing is to, like, when you share your story either online or in person, be able to share that with everyone, like have like a general story. So what I would suggest is maybe typing up something for a general story that is a couple minutes long to read or say out loud, and just, you know, something that you can tell everyone. Something, it doesn't have to be the whole thing, but the, you know, the most important parts of it. What makes you you. And then let's see, and then also your story should not be a sob story, right? So yes, it did suck in some parts of it, like where you were before, what you had to go through, but always end your story on a positive note. Always end it on where you were headed, where you were going, what is positive about it, what you are so excited for. People are drawn to enthusiasm. Believe it or not, a lot of people are bored on social media. Like, how many times do you see someone who is on all day? You know, they are bored, so they go to social media for entertainment and stories. So in doing so, and sorry, you're probably going to hear my dogs in the background, they went back in. But that is what people are on social media for. So let's see, so I wrote notes so I would stay on track. And then the other part of it is, like, when you share your story, you are giving hope to someone else. So those same struggles that you went through, someone else on your timeline and one of your friends is going through the same exact thing. Whether they tell you or not, I've had a lot of people who don't like or comment on anything, but yet they will message me and be like, I went through the same thing, or I struggle with the same thing, can you help me? And it's because they're too afraid to, you know, admit that to someone else, but if they know that I have been going through it, they are more apt to reach out to me. And so basically you are giving hope to that person who has been going through the same thing, you know, ways for them to get through whatever they are going through. One of my favorite sayings that they did in Dallas was, be a hope dealer. So you are giving hope to others. So if you are a newer coach, you may be thinking that you don't have a story, right? You're like, I just got started. Maybe you haven't done a full program. You haven't been drinking Shakeology that long. You don't have a weight loss story. But believe it or not, you do have a story. And I'm going to give you some examples. So one of the first stories that you can share as a newer coach is your first 7-day story. So this is your story about, you know, your first 7 days of working out and drinking Shakeology. In that first week, how did you feel before? How do you feel now that you've been a week in? Another story that you can share is just share where you were before you decided to become a coach, and now what has helped you and why did you decide to become a coach. And when you share that, you're sharing, you know, your initial reason why you got started, right? And that's going to connect with people that also may be struggling with the same things and finding hope in your story and why you got started. Whether or not that's just to get healthier, to feel better, maybe earn an extra income, you know, earn a full-time income, whatever it may be, share that, you know, share why you got started, and that's going to connect with so many more people. And then the last thing is also share, this is kind of a rule of thumb, so share your story at least once a day about Beachbody. So I know it's really easy for us to share all day about it, right? Because we're so excited about it, but you're not all Beachbody, right? You also have other things that are going on in your life. So one way to do this is write down 5 things that make you you. You know, things that you are interested in, your hobbies, maybe it's family. You know, for me, I love hair, my dogs, crafts, food, things like that. And then obviously family, you know, I am married, military life, you know, Army spouse. So those are some of my things that I can share about, you know, that are other than Beachbody. But things that you can share once a day about Beachbody and share your story is about the programs. You know, what program are you doing right now? What day are you on in your program? Share that. Take people along the journey with you. Also Shakeology, share about, you know, what you love about Shakeology, how it has helped you, how good it tastes, you know, the energy that you have, any of that. Or maybe a favorite recipe. People love that too. And then also share about the coaching life or the team. So share about, you know, what you love about being a coach. Is it your own hours? Is it being your own boss? Is it the community that you have on our team? Or maybe it's just your challengers or your coaches on your team. Share about that. The other thing that you can share about is your challenge groups. So any like free groups, challenge groups, sneak peeks, any of that. You can share about that. And also, of course, your progress. So any progress that you make along the way, share that. People want to know and be on that journey with you. So if you share, you know, just a before and after, but you didn't kind of share yourself along the way, people are like, oh, I feel like I could do that, or, you know, that's great and you look amazing, but sometimes they kind of doubt themselves whether or not they can do that because they didn't see you go on that journey with them. So other than that, the last part is then repeat. So you want to tell your story over and over and over and over. And I will say, yes, it gets repetitious or whatever the word is. You kind of get bored of it sometimes. So you share different things about your story. You don't have to share your whole big story at one time. Share it in little bits and pieces. So pick a part of your story that you want to share at that moment. And then you can write down multiple things so that you have different things to share every single day. You want to tell your story over and over again, and here's why. There's 2 reasons. So if you are continually adding new friends on Facebook, Instagram, wherever you mainly use your social media at, you're going to always have new faces on your timeline, in your friends list, and new eyes on your posts. So you want to continue to share your story because you're always going to have new people who are like, who is this girl, right? The second reason is that the people that you have already talked to and are already friends with, you remind them of where you came from. You remind them of where you were at before, where you are now. I can't tell you how many times people have told me, like, Sarah, you know, Beachbody brings the best out of you, or, you know, it's so amazing to watch where you were at before and now where you are. And people who have watched me along the way, right? So those are my tips on how to share your story effectively, and I will go over them one more time. There's the 4 parts, so I would definitely write these down if you can. 4 parts is, number 1, where was I before? Number 2, what I was dissatisfied with, why it sucked, and the pain that I went through. Number 3 is what I found. And then number 4 is how I feel about the future. So I hope that you guys use these and share your posts. I mean, if you have a really scary post and you just posted it, like, don't be afraid to reach out to our team and be like, hey, I need some love on my last post. We are here for you. And I know it can kind of seem scary at first, but the more that you do it, the easier that it becomes. So other than that, that's all I had for you guys. Do you guys have any questions about telling your story as of right now? No? Okay. All right. Well, other than that, I'm going to start doing team calls every Tuesday night about this time, just so that we are back on a schedule again. I know I kind of got out of it. So I will meet you guys again this next Tuesday. And if you guys have any specific topics that you would like me to talk about, something that you're struggling with, then let me know, and I would love to share that with you. But other than that, I will let you guys go. Bye, guys.